You know the NFL is spinning when the Las Vegas Raiders, a franchise famous for chaos, controversy, and commitment issues, suddenly pull off one of the boldest, most disruptive quarterback moves in the history of the league. Because let's be clear, this wasn't just a contract. This wasn't just a splash. This was a power move, the kind that sends shivers through every front office still clinging to the old way of doing things. The Raiders didn't just break tradition. They obliterated it. They saw the blueprint, laughed, and set it on fire. And sitting in the middle of the ashes?
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Shedeur Sanders, rookie quarterback, culture-shifting prospect. Now the face of the most expensive rookie deal the NFL has ever seen. $80 million guaranteed. Yes, guaranteed. For a rookie. Let that sink in. While the rest of the league was still debating whether Shedeur was worth the investment, Vegas made their decision. And they didn't whisper it, they screamed it. Loud enough for the entire NFL to hear. And now, the league is shook. Because this wasn't a flashy marketing stunt or some wild Vegas gamble. This was cold, calculated strategy from a franchise that finally remembered who they are. Or more accurately, who they used to be. The Raiders weren't always the butt of memes and the punchline of Sunday night. This team was once the heart of rebellion in the NFL. Al Davis didn't just build a brand, he built an attitude. A do it our way or get out of the way mentality. And this deal? That's pure Al Davis energy. Except now it's not coming from the owner's box. It's coming from a 21-year-old quarterback with a jawline that belongs on a magazine cover and the kind of pocket presence you only see once a decade. Shedeur didn't ask for a chance. He asked for the bag. And Vegas gave it to him, plus a kingdom to rule. But let's not pretend this came without chaos. Behind every bold move is a team that fumbled it first. Cue the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland had their shot. They had interest. Conversations were happening. Shedeur was in the building, figuratively and maybe even literally. But when it came time to commit, they hesitated. They overanalyzed. They processed. They evaluated the long-term implications. Translation, they did what Cleveland always does. And once again, they watched greatness walk right out the door. Now they're left with a quarterback room full of confusion, a fan base full of rage, and a front office that looks like it just got hit by a truck full of regrets. Meanwhile, Vegas? They're printing jerseys so fast they had to triple their warehouse staff. Because that's what happens when you go from irrelevant to iconic overnight. The moment Shedeur's deal was announced, the NFL ecosystem imploded. Sports talk shows broke format. Twitter caught fire. Vegas sportsbook odds shifted in real time. Fantasy projections, power rankings, and draft boards were all rendered instantly obsolete. Because this move didn't just shift momentum. It flipped the entire axis of the league. Suddenly, rookie quarterbacks aren't just development projects. They're investments. They're brands. They're strategic assets worth top-tier money before they ever throw a pass in the NFL. And that's what makes this deal so historic. It's not just the size of the contract, it's what it represents. This is the official end of the sit-and-learn era. This is the death of the wait-your-turn mentality. Because if you've got the talent, the mindset, and the marketability, you get paid now. No combine heroics. No waiting until your third preseason to get a shot. If you're Shedeur Sanders, you walk into the league like you already own the joint. And what's even crazier, it works. Because this kid is ready. He's not just talented, he's calculated. He's been trained for this, groomed for this, built for this. From Jackson State to Colorado, Shedeur hasn't just grown as a quarterback, he's evolved as a presence. The confidence isn't arrogance. It's legacy. It's clarity. It's someone who knows who he is, what he's worth, and what the game is actually about now. And Vegas saw that. Vegas understood that. They didn't just see stats, they saw star power. They saw the next generation of NFL leadership. And they said, we'll take him. All in. No hesitation. It's a mindset shift for the entire league. And it's already sending shockwaves. Owners are now reconsidering how they value young quarterbacks. Agents are rewriting their negotiation playbooks. Front offices are realizing that if they're not bold, they're already behind. Because the Raiders didn't just buy a quarterback. They bought relevance. They bought attention. They bought a future. And the rest of the league? They're scrambling just to keep up. And listen, we haven't even seen Shedeur play an NFL snap yet. That's what makes this so deliciously chaotic. He could go out week 1, throw a 70-yard bomb on his first drive, and instantly become the most dangerous man in football. Or he could struggle. He could have a rough start. He could get picked apart by veteran defenses and overwhelmed by NFL speed. But either way, people will be watching. Because that's the point. Vegas didn't sign Shedeur Sanders just for production. They signed him for presence. For momentum. For moment. And they already got it. Even if he never becomes the next Mahomes, Shedeur has already changed the quarterback market, shifted the conversation, and reminded the world that the Raiders? They're still here. And they're not afraid to make a mess to make a point. So yeah, this move is risky. But in a league full of safe bets and cookie-cutter QBs, that's exactly what makes it powerful. Because sometimes the boldest moves are the ones that make history. And Shedeur Sanders? He just made NFL history before he's even taken the field. Alright, now it's your turn. Did the Raiders just change the league forever? Or did they get hypnotized by a hype train that might crash spectacularly? Was this brilliance, madness, or both? Let's hear it. Drop your takes in the comments. Let it rip. And if you live for the chaos, the comebacks, and the completely unhinged decisions that make the NFL what it is, subscribe, tap that bell, and get ready, because if this is how the season starts, the ending is going to be legendary. This isn't just a contract. It's not just a quarterback. And it's definitely not just a PR stunt. This is a philosophical shift in how football is played, marketed, and monetized. And the epicenter of that shift? Not Kansas City. Not Dallas. Not New England. Las Vegas. The team once buried under years of dysfunction, quarterback turnover, and missed potential, just rewired the entire NFL circuitry with one signature and one rookie. And here's the thing. They didn't do it to go 9-8 and squeak into the playoffs. They did it to blow up the system. Because this signing isn't about this season. It's about a long game, one the Raiders are suddenly playing smarter than anyone else in the league. Let's break it down. First off, the money. $80 million guaranteed isn't just a record. It's a provocation. A slap in the face to every GM who ever thought, he's not ready yet. To every front office still clinging to their third-string clipboard guy like he's the next Brady. It says, we don't care what he hasn't done. We care what he's about to do. And that right there? That's the new gold standard. It's not about resumes. It's about readiness. Vegas didn't draft Shedeur in the hopes he'd develop. They signed him because he's already a fully formed product. A modern quarterback who doesn't just play football, he plays the game behind the game. On the field, he's precise, mobile, and poised. Off the field, he's a businessman, a leader, and a brand. In other words, he's everything the modern NFL craves but rarely finds. So while traditional teams are still trying to crack the formula, Shedeur is the formula. And the Raiders? They saw it before anyone else had the guts to admit it. Second, the message. To the rest of the league, this wasn't just Vegas making a splash. This was Vegas planting a flag. A declaration that said, we're not scared of being first. We're scared of being irrelevant. And that fear? It's real. Because irrelevance in the NFL is a death sentence. The teams that don't innovate get left behind. The franchises that wait too long become footnotes. The ones that play it safe get replaced by the ones who play to win. And in a city like Las Vegas, you can't afford to be boring. Shedeur Sanders is many things, but boring will never be one of them. And neither are the implications of this deal. Because now, everything's changing. Quarterback valuation has officially been rewritten. It's not just about arm strength and touchdown-to-interception ratios anymore. It's about cultural capital. It's about who can galvanize a fan base, own a moment, and bring a billion-dollar brand to life. Shedeur has all of that in his sleep. So when people say, well, he hasn't proven anything in the NFL yet, let's be honest, neither has half the league. But you know what he has proven? That he can walk into pressure, into expectations, into headlines, and thrive. He's done it at Jackson State. He did it at Colorado. And now he's ready to do it under the Vegas lights, where every mistake is a meme and every win becomes a movement. Because don't forget, this isn't just about football. It's about entertainment. The NFL is now a 365-day-year content engine. Every team, every player, every press conference, it all feeds the machine. And Shedeur? He's already figured out how to drive the machine. Let's talk about what the Raiders have already won, before Shedeur even takes a snap. They've won headlines. They've won jersey sales. They've won fan engagement. They've won back attention, which in the NFL is almost as valuable as playoff wins. Suddenly, kids who've never worn a Raiders jersey are rocking number 2 with Sanders on the back. ESPN's running daily segments on his training camp throws. And the Raiders' Instagram? Tripled its engagement overnight. This is how dynasties start in 2025, not with 3 years of quiet rebuilding, but with a single franchise-altering moment that shifts everything. And if Shedeur backs it up on the field, forget it. He'll be the face of the franchise and the face of the NFL within 2 years. Maybe sooner. And that's why this deal is about so much more than just risk. It's about leverage. The Raiders just changed the way rookies negotiate, the way teams evaluate value, and the way media treats new players. And Shedeur? He's not scared of the pressure. He's built for it. Because here's what separates him from every other young quarterback. He doesn't want to survive the NFL. He wants to own it. He's not here to wait his turn. He's not here to learn the ropes. He's not here to hold the clipboard and clap on the sideline while someone else burns clock. He's here to lead. And that right there? That's the part no spreadsheet can measure. Because what the Raiders just bought isn't just potential. It's presence. And presence? That's what wins in today's league. It's what Mahomes has. It's what Burrow found. It's what so many top picks never develop. But Shedeur? He had it before the contract. Before the spotlight. Before the Raiders even picked up the phone. And now that presence is backed by a historic deal, a franchise that finally remembered who it is, and a city that lives for risk. And here's the final twist. Even if it doesn't work, even if Shedeur doesn't become the next MVP, even if the Raiders only win 6 games this year, it still matters. Because the league will never go back. This contract? This moment? It changed things. And even if the rest of the NFL is still pretending they're not worried, they are. Because deep down, every single team knows what just happened. Vegas made the boldest move in a generation. And for the first time in a long time, the rest of the NFL isn't laughing. They're listening. We're not in recap territory anymore. We're in the thick of a narrative shift. And the deeper you look into what the Raiders just pulled off by signing Shedeur Sanders, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just a quarterback change. This is a complete rebranding of what a modern NFL franchise is allowed to be. And somehow, Las Vegas, the franchise that spent the better part of the 21st century either rebuilding, relocating, or running out of relevance, just became the most forward-thinking team in the league. Let's talk ripple effects. Because the $80 million guaranteed Shedeur Sanders deal wasn't a splash. It was a meteor. And when a meteor hits, it doesn't just make a crater, it shifts the climate. Let's start with the AFC West. Once upon a time, this was Mahomes' playground, and everyone else was just renting space. Justin Herbert was the golden-armed understudy. Denver? A question mark wrapped in a contract the size of Wyoming. And the Raiders? Honestly, they were background noise. But now, everything has changed. Because Mahomes isn't the only draw anymore. Now there's a new name pulling eyeballs. A new presence on the marquee. Shedeur. And sure, he hasn't played it down yet. But don't think for a second the Chiefs haven't noticed. Don't think the Chargers aren't nervously watching Vegas footage. Don't think Denver, a team desperate for a turnaround, isn't privately wondering if they just got leapfrogged by the one team that dared to break the mold. And let's talk about fans. Because fans don't invest in stats. They invest in stories. And this? This is the kind of story that draws new blood into the franchise. For years, the Raiders were coasting on nostalgia. Just win, baby, felt like a throwback catchphrase, not a mission statement. The swagger was gone. The mystique? Faded. The silver and black? Just a color scheme on clearance racks. But now it's cool to wear a Raiders jersey again. Not because they won a Super Bowl. Not because they've locked up the division. But because they've got the main character. That's what Shedeur brings to the table, narrative gravity. He makes things feel important. Every practice throw. Every mic'd-up sideline moment. Every off-the-field appearance. He doesn't just fill space, he generates it. And Vegas knows that. They knew what they were buying. But here's what they might not have known until now. They didn't just buy a quarterback. They bought culture. They bought influence. Relevance. A seat at the table they've been locked out of for 2 decades. And that kind of transformation? You can't put a price on that. Well, unless it's $80 million. Let's talk about pressure. Because this kind of money doesn't just come with expectations. It comes with spotlight-level heat. And not everyone survives that. Every interception Shedeur throws will trend. Every missed read will be a TikTok breakdown. Every close loss will trigger the "was it worth it?" discourse. But that's the thing, this isn't new to him. Shedeur Sanders has always played under a microscope. He's not some wide-eyed rookie adjusting to fame. He grew up in it. Raised by Deion Sanders, trained in pressure, and forged in a media environment most NFL veterans still aren't comfortable navigating. He's been built, day by day, for exactly this. So yeah, he'll get criticized. But he won't get rattled. And that's why this deal isn't crazy. It's not reckless. It's not premature. It's actually, wait for it, smart. Vegas isn't just betting on talent. They're betting on temperament. On savvy. On someone who can carry the weight of a franchise not just on Sunday, but every day. Because in this league, what happens Monday through Saturday can be just as important. Every press conference. Every locker room moment. Every tweet. Every time you walk past a mic or show up in a commercial, you're shaping the perception of your team. And Shedeur? He understands that better than anyone in his class. Probably better than most of the league. The Raiders didn't sign a player. They signed a CEO. A walking brand with a cannon for an arm and a camera-ready presence that makes corporate sponsors line up like it's Black Friday. And speaking of brands, can we talk about the marketing machine that's already spinning around this? Nike, Beats, Gatorade, the NFL's official social channels. Shedeur hasn't just entered the league, he's taken it over. And that opens up a new category of player. We've seen teams invest in raw talent before. We've seen rookies handed the reins. But we've never seen a rookie come in this polished, this media-aware, and this strategically supported. This is a new archetype. The quarterback as content creator, as icon, as franchise architect. And that's what has the NFL establishment terrified. Because if Shedeur succeeds, if he lights up the field and makes this $80 million look like a discount, then the old guard is finished. No more earn your spot lectures. No more redshirting young quarterbacks behind journeyman veterans. No more PR teams babysitting players through interviews. A new model takes over. And it looks a lot like Shedeur Sanders. So now the question becomes, what if he's right? What if this is what quarterbacks are supposed to look like in 2025 and beyond? What if Vegas didn't just get lucky, what if they got ahead? Because while every other team was watching the draft board, scouting left tackles and project QBs, the Raiders looked at the future and grabbed it by the collar. And you can feel the shift happening. There's no going back now. This isn't a moment. This is a movement. And we're all watching it unfold in real time. So whether Shedeur Sanders ends up holding the Lombardi Trophy or just the league's most iconic rookie contract, one thing's for sure. He already changed the game. The dust hasn't even settled yet, and the shockwaves from the Shedeur Sanders signing are still rippling across the league. Front offices are scrambling to recalibrate their playbooks. Analysts are rewriting their takes in real time. And fans? They're either chanting in the streets or clutching their pearls, depending on whether or not their team missed out. And let's not forget, there are a lot of teams who missed out. Because this wasn't some secret. Shedeur Sanders didn't come out of nowhere. He's been right there, in full view, every Saturday. Delivering throws, making plays, walking around like he already had a Super Bowl ring waiting on him. So when Vegas locked him down, what they really did was expose everyone else. They showed who was paying attention and who was still asleep at the wheel. And now, those sleepy franchises are going to spend the next 5 years trying to catch up to a team they used to laugh at. Because here's what's really wild about all of this. Just a year ago, the Raiders were considered one of the most lost franchises in football. Stuck in a holding pattern. No direction. No spark. Just floating somewhere between mediocrity and irrelevance. And now, they're leading a revolution. This is what vision looks like. This is what conviction looks like. This is what happens when a team finally decides, let's stop waiting for the next great quarterback to fall into our lap, and go get him. So where does this all end? We don't know. And that's the fun part. This story is still unfolding. Will Shedeur deliver? Will he live up to the legend? Will the Raiders ride this wave all the way to the top? Or will the pressure crush him? Will the money become a weight? Will Vegas spiral back into dysfunction? All possibilities are on the table. But here's what we do know. This moment, this decision, matters. It changed the conversation. It reset the market. And it gave the Raiders something they haven't had in a long, long time. So buckle up, because the Shedeur Sanders era is coming. And it's not coming quietly. Sound off in the comments. Do you believe in the hype? Is this the new blueprint? Or is Vegas out of its mind? And if you live for football chaos, controversy, and quarterback drama, subscribe, smash that bell. Stay locked in. Because if this is just the start of Shedeur's story, you do not want to miss the ending.